Dos Rios is a resource acquisition territory building game. It's for 2 to 4 players, ages 12 and up. It takes about 75 minutes to play.
Setup begins with creating two rivers on the randomized board, which must always go from high elevation to low elevation. Each player begins with 6 campesinos, or farm workers, 4 casas, 1 hacienda, and 2 brown dams. You take turns placing 3 of your campesinos in the valley, leaving 3 in the city. Each turn is divided into 2 parts, the action phase and the harvest phase. In the action phase, you have 6 movements available for your campesinos. You can place dams if you have them, which will reroute the river, and you place buildings if you can afford them, which will help you harvest even more. $500 for the casas and $1,000 for the hacienda. The goal here is to set yourself up for a bountiful harvest and chase off your opponents to prepare for the harvest phase. In the harvest phase, whoever has campesinos and buildings on the indicated hexes will harvest goods. For example, forests will give dams, and crops will give $100 for every campesino and building on those hexes. There are also river cards, which in that case, everything on that color river will produce a harvest, but you have to watch out for the 2 desperados because whenever they are drawn, they immediately attack the first 3 occupied spaces on the rivers, chasing away a campesino back to the city. The first person to build all 5 buildings, or to build 4 buildings, including their hacienda, all on the rivers, wins the game.
In short, this game is very similar in style to Catan, just without the excitement and replayability. The board is pretty fiddly to set up, the rules don't cover every scenario you need, and it's just one of those games where you really have to explain it as you go. My main beef with this game is that none of your actions really feel like they have any long-term effects. For example, on your turn you might build a dam and reroute the river and then move all of your workers onto the river and push a bunch of other opponents' workers away and get yourself a good harvest, which is great. But then the other players are going to do the exact same thing on their turn and just mess the board all up. So whenever it gets back to your turn, you just always feel like you're starting from square zero again. Now, in Catan, if you build a settlement on a resource or on a port, you have those things for the rest of the game. So there's more strategy. You're building an economy for yourself. This actually almost functions more as a take-that style game, which is fine. But I would just rather play a good take-that style game instead of one that is overly complicated and then mixes in economics. So I enjoyed this one for the first 3 plays, and then that was about it. So I give this game a 2.5 out of 5 stars, and that is Dos Rios.